Hey guys, how we doing? Today I'm going to do another video for you guys. I haven't done one in a while. Today's video is how to make an Xbox One headset adapter. I know a lot of you guys out there already have these Xbox One headsets. And I know a lot of you guys have Turtle Beach and Astro headsets. So nobody likes using these. They sound like crap. They got the single earpiece, crappy mic. Obviously you have to use your TV speakers or your surround sound or whatever it may be. You can't put a set of headphones over these things. Well, you could, but it's really uncomfortable. And it's just not worth it. So really all you need is this. This is the puck. And puck can become your Xbox One headset adapter. So you're going to need a Torx T6 screwdriver, and this cover hides the screws. It's very easy to take off. All you have to do is grab it either here or here and peel. It comes right off. Take your Torx T6 and just undo the 5 screws. There's 3 little black ones. Oops. Don't lose your screws. And 2 silver ones. And kind of just turn them until they're even with the top. Hold this, pull this off. You'll have your 2 posts, and you should still have your 3 screws. Put that to the side. This is your mute and volume up and down. Put that to the side. And now you have 4 wires. Take your soldering gun or iron or whatever you have, and 1. Oops. Okay, let's try that again. One, 2, 3, 4. I guess my iron wasn't heated up. Take your headset, throw it to the side. You don't need it. All you need is this. Now, here you will see 4 soldering points. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 are ground, microphone, headset, and headset. Doesn't matter which of the last 2 you use. I personally like to use the one at the end and leave one in the middle as a spacer. And you need to solder to 3 out of the 4 of these. So let's tin them up. There you go, all tinned up, ready to go. There you go. Now, I'll post a link to where to get these cables. These are male to female, 2.5 millimeter 2.5 foot or 3 foot cables. I forget the exact size. Now, a lot of people like to use this end because it plugs direct up into their headset. Do not use this end for 2 reasons. Number 1, these posts bend and break. If you solder the end of this cable to this puck and you use the male end and it breaks, you're going to have to redo it. The female end, even if you break off your post there, you can pull it out with a set of tweezers. Female end will last a lot longer than the male end. So what we're going to do is take our scissors and cut the male end off. This cable is a Stern cable from Stern Electronics. You can buy it at summitsource.com. They're a few dollars, very cheap. And since the Xbox One headset comes with pretty much every Xbox One console, this is a super cheap mod. Now, that I cut the cable, you'll only see 2 little wires there. Let me strip them and show you what we're going to do. Okay. Now we're stripped. You're going to see a lot of these little strandy, these strands here. They're cable that is unshielded. That is technically your ground. Now, you don't have to use this cable. You can use pretty much any 2.5 millimeter cable. 2.5 millimeter cable. But the end that you cut off, you need to figure out which wire goes to which. You need to know which one's your ground, which one's your mic, and which one is your headphone. If you use this exact cable and follow this exact tutorial, you'll get it 100% right the first time. If you use a different cable, for example, here's just another different company's cable, you'll see that the ends are a little different. And I don't know which one's which out of those 3. Now, I can tell you on the male post, this long end here, before the 2 rings, that's your ground. Your middle is usually your microphone, and your top is usually your headphone. Now, you can use a razor and slice off all this plastic and see where those 3 cables are soldered to. So, for example, on this cable, I don't know which one's ground, which one is going to be mic, and which one is going to be headphones. So I would need to find the end that I cut off, strip it, and figure out which 3 are attached to which 3 posts. Once you find the ground, the other 2, mic and headphone, it's really a 50-50 shot. You can just kind of solder them and test it, see if it works. If it doesn't, reverse them. I mean, it's that easy. But if you use this cable, you're going to get it perfect. So this Stern cable, what you're going to do is you're going to brush all the unshielded wire out of the way. You know, kind of pull. You want the red wire to your right, and the white wire to your left. And there's a reason for this, and I'll show you. Okay, now that you got them out of the way, take all that unshielded cable, grab it tightly, and twist. And make a nice unshielded cable. Nice and tight. I'll show you why we're doing this. When you solder unshielded cable inside of electronics, obviously it can ground out on any of these electronics. You don't want to do that. You want your cable to be nice and tight, and I'm going to show you a method of soldering this where it will be completely safe. Now just kind of use your wire strippers on the red and white cables and just strip off enough at the ends. I like to use some solder flux, kind of just dip my wires in there, kind of tin them up. There we go. And oh, didn't dip it. Get that whole twisted cable that you made and just kind of, there we go. Okay, now 3 solder points, super easy. Red is your headphone, white is your microphone, and the bear is your ground. So watch how easy this is. Now, we're going to want to do this on a downward angle. We don't want to do them completely flat, because when you solder the tip to the bubble of solder here, it could melt some of your cable, and you don't want any of that exposed wire touching any of these electronics. So I like to kind of solder them on a downward. There you go. That's 2 of them. And as you can see, they're not grounding out on anything. Now, here's the part that's fun. You want to kind of make a C with these wires. Use your tweezers if you have to. Bring your unshielded cable across to that 3rd bubble. Bam. There you go. I have soldered on the 3rd unshielded cable. Use your scissors. Cut off the excess. Should be perfectly flush. Now, bend your wires forward. Carefully, you don't want to rip them off the contact points. See this big resistor here? Grab your white wire and wrap it under the unshielded cable around that resistor. Then the same with your red cable. Put it right behind it and then lay them back flat. They should look exactly like that. Your unshielded cable is up high and it doesn't touch any of the electronics. It's across the 2 shielded cables. All 3 perfectly soldered. There you go. Now, line your fat black part of the cable up with this connector. If you look at the bottom, this is where your mic, mute, and your volume up and down are. You want to lay that inside the case, like this. There you go. Put the cover back on. Make sure your wire comes right through the hole. Take your T6 and screw in your black screws. And do your silver screws. Excuse me, guys. You are done. You now have a headset adapter to use with any old school or new headset that you might have. Your Astro, your Turtle Beach, your Tritton, whatever you might have. Now take your cover, I like to put the long part, you see these, there's a lot of little clips in here. Make sure all your clips are up and that you didn't bend or break any of them when you took it off, when you pulled it off. Put the front on first. Excuse me. There we go. And then snap your back in. Perfect. There you go. That's it. That's your Xbox One headset adapter. Complete, simple, easy. I'm going to do it a second time for you guys. And I'm going to do it without explaining it all. Ready? Rip off cover. Unscrew the screws. Hold cable, pull cover. Desolder the 4 wires that are already there. Throw your headset to the side. Take your solder and solder 3 of the 4 points. Use the far point. The mic point and the ground point. Careful not to use too much solder because you don't want to end up soldering the 2 points together and bridging them. And that point that you don't use, just make sure there's no solder from that one touching either of the other 2. Done? Okay, now take your cable, take your male end, cut it off, take your strippers, strip the cable, expose the 3 wires underneath, red wire to the right, bend out your 2 shielded, take all your unshielded. There we go. Twist tightly. Take your strippers, strip off a tiny little end of each of your shielded cables. If you have flux, dip. Tin. In this case, they're slightly too big. I took my scissors and I just trimmed them down so that they're just 2 little pieces. Soak your unshielded cable. Try not to get solder on it. Use just the hot part to just kind of melt it through all that twisted. You can kind of tin the end if you want because you're going to cut that off anyway. That'll kind of help it stay together. And then solder 2 puck on an upward angle. 1, 2, 3, cut off the end. bend forward. Wrap white wire around. Wrap red wire and bend forward so that your unshielded cable comes up and across. Use your tweezers to check to make sure there's no solder bridges, that there's clear spacing, and that you don't have any of this unshielded cable accidentally, touching anything. Wrap it around, place it in. Throw cover on. Oops. There we go. Oh, I messed up. Sorry, guys. Place back in. Cable around. There we go. You'll kind of feel it snap perfectly into place. Put your screws in. This literally is a very simple mod. It'll save you $30+ from going out and buying a headset adapter, since you already have these crappy headphones that you're never going to use again. You might as well convert them into an adapter. The cables are super cheap. They're $1 or $2 plus shipping. The headset came with your console. Bam, done. That's that. It's that simple.